Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today I've got these wonderful cutting dies from Simply Made Crafts. We've got the terrific Terrarium die set. We've also got the Ultimate Gabrera and Leaf die set and the Ultimate Peony and Leaf die set. They're amazing tools. This is the Terrarium that my friend Debbie made. Isn't it fantastic? And you can also make these wonderful, grab them, flowers. We're going to show you how to put this all together to make your own special terrarium. So come play with us. So these are all the dies that come in the terrific Terrarium die set. And as I said, they make this fabulous, here we go, they make this fabulous terrarium. It's hinged. You can fill it with all kinds of special little goodies. And Debbie made this using white cardstock, glue, acetate. It takes about 5 or 6 sheets of acetate, which we've included in our money saver, which I'll get to later, or you can buy them individually at the link below our video. And when I was going through this, I watched the video that the designer Helen Griffin made to make this wonderful terrarium, and she did a splendid job. So we're going to let her show you how to make this terrarium. So at the end of our video where we're showing you how to make all the flowers, just stay tuned and you can see Helen's video on how to put together terrarium. She does a really great job, and it's so much easier than you would think it would be. This die set, this rectangle one makes this particular terrarium, but there's also a smaller one here that makes a little square one that you can make a smaller size too. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you? Oh yes, if you're watching us on YouTube and you want to see Helen's video, just look in the description box below and you can see the link to that as well. Okay, so we're going to move on and make all of our peonies and our Gabrera daisies. There we go. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you how to do, I think, is make our peonies. Let me get all the dies. I've got so many dies over here, you guys. This die set has awesome pieces to it. Look at the sizes of these. I'm going to put these in order. So you got small, medium, large, extra large, and then you've got the leaf set included. Okay, so I'm pausing because I'm trying to find all my pieces here. So this one is the extra large die, and it's just out of white cardstock. Let me show you the ones that Debbie made here. These are so gorgeous. Look at this. And she used these, she made these out of white cardstock, and then the green comes from pastel cardstock pack that we sell at Paper Wishes. You can get the white cardstock there as well. And then she colored them using these new Harmony ink pad colors that we have. This one is fuchsia, and this is pale fig. For this one, it's kind of a purpley pink color. She used both of these ink pads, and for this one, she just used the fuchsia. So that's what I'm going to show you today, just the fuchsia one for now. All right, so first thing that she did was, let's grab my craft mat because we're going to get messy. All right, and then I've got a large, the large size of our blender brush. All of these things are available at paperwishes.com. There's a few things that we relied on our local dollar store to purchase that you can purchase anywhere, like moss and wire and floral tape and things like that, hot glue. But everything else, Paper Wishes. All right, so this is the die side up, and you can see it's got these little ridges and things on it, face up. And we're just going to some of that beautiful pink. I'm not even going to blot it. I just want this color on there as vibrantly as I can. And we're just doing those edges there. And we're going to turn it over because peonies curl up and you're going to see both sides of your cardstock. All right. Now, there's also a couple tool sets that we have used. Before I move on, if you haven't used our blender brushes before, I just clean them up when I'm using a water-based ink. I just clean them up using soap and water, just like you would a paintbrush. But in between on our videos, I'm just using an alcohol-free baby wipe to get that color off because we're going to be using that again later. And I want to do that now because it'll be too wet when I want to use it later. All right, clean and tidy. Now we're going to do some shaping on this. And for the peony, you want to cut 2 of each one of the 4 sizes, okay? So we're just going to do the one here. And we've got this great set of flower shaping tools. These are flower forming ball tools from Crafter's Companion, and they come with this little foam block. And I found it was easiest to use the biggest one here. Also, using a bone folder is really helpful when forming these flowers. So what I'm going to do is this big ball, I'm just going to put it right in the center of the petal, and you're just doing a stirring motion. So you're cupping it, okay? And this is the face up of the peony, because I can see that because it's got the little lines on there on the front. All right, so I'm cupping each petal. There we go. And when Debbie made her flowers and she was showing me how to do this, she said also the bone folder, if you don't have the ball tools, using a bone folder and doing it in, kind of putting it on a piece of foam or like a mouse pad or something like that, and using your bone folder to curl it in this fashion, and even using the end of it and curling it in this fashion was very helpful. But I have my ball tools, so that's what I'm going to be using today. All right, so you're going to do 2 of them in this way, and then you're going to glue those together offset. Offset meaning, so the petals are not aligned exactly. You want them offset a little bit. And I just used a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue, put a dot or 2 at the center and layered those. Then when I've got that going, now I'm going to do this, okay? And just really cup the whole thing like that. All right, so I did this as the medium size, same thing. Cupping. Okay, there we go. And now I'm down to this little small size. Okay, and this one, I'm going to use the small ball to do the small size. Okay, and you see that curling right up. And I put a little dot of glue right in the center. Really don't need much glue at all on this whole project. There we go. I'm going to bring this back in, and we're just going to push that down so it's cupped right up so that your center is really closed in. All right. So now we're going to put all of these together, except for this top one. We're going to set this aside. Where's my pokey tool? Okay, here's a little pokey tool that you can also get at Hot Off the Press, excuse me, at Paper Wishes. And we're going to layer these together, and we're going to glue them, starting with the largest flower. That was my big jumbo. Here's the next size down. Okay, and I want to make sure those centers are pretty much aligned, because when I'm all done layering them like this, and I'm just going to give it a second. You can also use hot glue to do this. I just find that the paper glue works great, and if I wasn't filming this, I could wait like 2 or 3 minutes and it would all be glued together and dry. But we're in a hurry, so we're going to go ahead now, take this pokey tool, it's very sharp, and we're going to poke a hole in the center of all these layers. And I'm doing that on the foam, obviously, so I can go all the way through. Okay, so there it goes. Now I'm going to take some wire. All right, this is probably 22 gauge wire, and I just got this at my local craft store like Michael's, and I think you can even get the paddle wire at your local dollar store. So I'm going to put this through, and it's a heavier gauge, so I mean it doesn't go limp, it holds upright. But it's not so thick that I can't bend it. So I'm going to put it through there. And then I'm just going to bend it over, like an L. So if I was going to put it like that, all right, so it's laying flat. All right, so now I am going to take a little bit of hot glue. I don't want that moving around. I want it to stay put. And now I'm taking the center of my peony, that last tiny one, and I'm just putting that right in there. And we're covering that big piece of wire, because that's not pretty. All right, so here's my peony, and I'm just going to kind of close it up, right? Now, we're going to deal with the leaves. Here are my leaf dies. Okay, I've got 2 different sizes. What I did with these was I put some ink on them just to kind of give them a little bit of dimension. All right, so where's my ink? Here's my ink. All right, so I've got, oh, wrong ink. Here we go. Here's my ink. So this is just water reactive seal brown ink. I'm going to take my small little blender brush, and I'm just going around the edges, really, just to give that a little different color. All right, and I did that on these as well. Oh, I'm reaching down to grab my my cloth that fell on the floor. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we've got that, and then we want to make some of these leaves have a little bit of bend to them. So I just took the same wire and I just glued about 1.5 to 2 inch lengths on the back of each one. Took a little bit of hot glue and just stuck those wires in there, let them dry thoroughly, and then this is what they're going to do. They're going to bend, and they're going to stay that way. And they have a little bit of extra shape to them. Really nice. Okay. And then on this little guy, I'm not going to do anything to this one other than give it a little bit of a turn. All right, so there's our peony to begin with. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some, this is just floral tape. You can get this at your local dollar store as well. What you do is it's kind of sticky and kind of tacky, and when you stretch it, it becomes even more tacky. So we're going to start up at the top and wind it. It takes a little bit of practice. You might want to practice it on a piece of wire that you don't have a flower on. And another little tip is you can always just take a little bit of glue at the top and it'll hold your tape in place. That's just a little cheat there. And then we're going to start wrapping this wire. Okay. Now this works great if you're going to put them in a vase or you want your stem to show a lot. So that's why I'm showing you this technique. When we put these in our terrarium, really the stems aren't going to show. So you don't need to go to this amount of trouble. But I wanted to show you how this is going to work. Now I'm going to attach one of these leaves. Okay. So I've got the stem right there. And we're just going to keep wrapping it. You go all the way down. Okay. Wire cutters, very helpful. So you can cut your tape off, and then you can cut the wire to any length that you want. All right. So there we have the peonies. Okay. So you've got mine, you've got Debbie's, you've got this lighter one. Oh, my leaf fell off. That's okay. We're going to move on to the next thing. All right, now for the daisies. Here are the daisies that Debbie made. These are gorgeous, okay? Gerbera daisies, some people call them Gerber daisies. Debbie told me they're called Gerbera, so that's what I'm going to go with. I trust her. She knows everything. So I've got all of these pieces. All right, so you've got your leaves, and you've also got your different sizes here of your daisies. These are the pieces that we've already cut. Here we go. And I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of coloring with my mat back. Okay, so Debbie used from the red and orange Cat IQ use this sort of corally color here. And I'm gonna bring our brush back. And wow, I put on that too much. I should have blotted it first. There we go. We'll just smooth that out a little bit. And she went in pretty far with hers, like this, to the center. All right, then she used the bone folder. And she just kind of did this little technique where you're using the bone folder to lift those petals up, okay? Now you could also use a piece of foam. You can also use a mouse pad, anything to kind of give a little cushion there to get that up, okay? So they're all, whoops, I missed some over here. All kind of lifted up, those little spiky things. And then with the large flowers too, she just took each one of these, and it was almost like curling ribbon. Just did that technique to give that bent look, okay? You want them to curl down. All right, so we're gonna do this in the same way that we did the other ones. Oops, I didn't do my curling on this one. I'm gonna just do this very quickly here using the pad. And I think we can just curl them this way too, just to get a little faster. I don't think it's quite as great as the one she did, but we're gonna be moving along very quickly. There we go. Hers are better. All right, so now I'm gonna take my glue. Once again, I'm offsetting the petals so they don't line up exactly. Makes your flower look nice and full when they're offset. There we go. And then we've got these pieces here. Center. And offsetting those as well. And then we've got this nice pieces here. Go. All right, so now we're ready. So you'll notice these are coming up and the larger petals are going down. See? That makes all the difference. I'm gonna grab my pokey tool. We're gonna poke right through the center there. Okay. Grab our wire. I'm gonna go through the top first. Open that up a little bit more. I have to poke again. Make it a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, so once again, we're gonna bend that into sort of an L shape there. Got a flat side. Put a little hot glue on that. And then we've got one piece here, that brown piece, the center, smallest piece. And we're going to cover that with brown ink using the brush. Oops. My wire poked through it. Didn't have it down flat enough. Here we go. And if you've got some of those little glue gun strings, you can take those off. All right. We're not going to wrap this one with photo tape because we're going to be assembling this in our terrarium. But I do have our leaves, and these were cut also from green pastel cardstock. She did that same little inking technique around the outside edges of the brown, with the brown. All right, so let's get to the flower arranging part. All right, so we've got this wonderful terrarium, which, as I told you, is in the video directly following this flower video. piece of foam, which we got at our local dollar store. I'm going to put some hot glue there. I'm going to put this right in the center. We've also got some Spanish moss, also from the dollar store. And the Spanish moss I'm just going to place around here because when we poke everything in, it's going to keep it in place. So I really don't have to worry about gluing it down. Fluffing that up a little bit there. There we go. All right, so that's covered. And I just have to remember now that my center, my floral centers and my foam is in the center part right there. We're going to start with, I think we're going to start with this. I'm going to cut some of these down smaller. And bend them a little bit like this. And they're just going to connect with that foam. Okay, there's the smaller one. Once again, I'm going to cut that shorter. I want my leaves to kind of stick out under there so that they can be shown. Okay, here's the one I made. I'm also going to cut a little shorter. So all my peonies are going to kind of be over here on one side. And then I've got my Cabrera daisies. I'm going to shape those as well. Cut a little bit extra off. You never really know how much wire you're going to need until you just start arranging. Okay. There we go. And this last one, I'm going to put right here. There. All right, now when we shut our lid there, you can see everything is arranged in there. It looks so pretty, very soft, and it'll last forever. So all of that work that you did, it's going to last forever. What's great about this terrarium is that your beautiful flowers are going to be protected from dust and everything. So you're just going to lightly dust the outside of your terrarium and the inside. It's going to look great for years. So we've got a wonderful money saver on all of these cutting die sets, as well as the acetate that you need to make your terrarium. So I would definitely check that out. If you're watching us on our Webisodes page, it is to the right of this video. There's a little photo and it says Money Saver. You just click on that. And if you're watching us on YouTube, then just look down in the description box and you're going to see not only the Money Saver link, you're also going to find a link to Helen's video on how to make this great terrarium, so don't miss that, as well as a link to paperwishes.com where you can find lots more fun things to play with. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time.